Welcome to Chapter 5, Surgery of the Oral Cavity. This chapter is the official start of our long discussion on the surgeries of the digestive system. So, buckle up because we're in for a long, fun ride. Let's get started. The oral cavity of dogs and cats houses multiple important structures, starting with the teeth, the tongue, the maxilla, or the upper jaw, the paired mandible, the hard palate, which is made up of the palatine, maxillary, and incisive bones of the skull, the soft palate, and the major and minor salivary glands. Each of these structures have different pathologies which can require surgical correction. But before we get to that, get 1/4 sheet of paper. Charot. Well, you are not a stranger to how I do the quizzes. Surgery is the only subject wherein the quizzes are about another subject. But you all know anatomy walks hand in hand with surgery. So let's see how you will fare with the following questions. How many permanent teeth does a dog have? How many permanent teeth does a cat have? What are the 4 major salivary glands? Yep, we have major ones and we have minor ones. Number 7 is quite easy. Try to identify the lymphoid organ located in the lateral wall of the oropharynx. We also have this as humans. And for 8 to 10, name 3 of the 4 nerves serving as the sensory innervation of the tongue. So take as much time as you need to recall these anatomy points. Pause the video to give yourself more time and play it once you have your answers. So, were you able to answer it? Let's take it one question at a time. For number 1, there are 42 permanent teeth. For the cat, they only have 30. I would want you to research and recall the dental formula for the dog and cat. Those are very important. So for 3 to 6, what are the 4 major salivary glands? These are the parotid, mandibular, sublingual, and the one near the eye, zygomatic. Those are the 4 major salivary glands. For the minor salivary glands, you have the palatine, the lingual, molar, labial, and buccal. So they produce less saliva. That's why they're minor salivary glands. The major salivary glands account for around 60% of the production of saliva for dogs and cats. Number 7 is quite easy. Those are your tonsils. For the nerves that serve as the sensory innervation, that would be what? What did you answer? Of course, I would not have an idea what you've written, but I hope you got it right, or maybe some of it right. So these are the vagus nerve, or cranial nerve 10, the glossopharyngeal nerve, which is cranial nerve 9, the facial nerve, or the chorda tympani for the taste, and the lingual nerve, which is a mandibular branch, which is from the mandibular branch of cranial nerve 5 or trigeminal nerve. Did anyone say hypoglossal? Well, hypoglossal nerve also goes to the tongue, but it is not a sensory innervation, but it is a motor one. It's what makes the tongue move. So don't forget your cranial nerve mnemonics, guys. Lots of structures to discuss here. We will start with one of the most important one, the teeth. The dental arcade is composed of the tooth and its supporting structures. The teeth, as you know, have different classifications. Starting with the most rostral would be the incisors, the canines, the premolars, and the caudal most would be the molars. each of these types have their own specialized functions. For example, the incisors are for cutting, canines are for shearing, and the molars are for grinding. With their very important functions for digestion and defense, they are predisposed to stress and damage. This is why the teeth are supported by the periodontium, which is made up of the gingiva or gums, the periodontal ligament, the cementum, and the alveolar bone. Now, before we go into the details of the teeth, I have an assignment for you. Listen up. When we talk about the teeth, we have to characterize them depending on their surfaces. What are the different surfaces of the teeth? What do we call the surface which is in contact with the lips? The ones in contact with the tongue, the palate, the cheeks. Research and be familiar with those terms which I know you have encountered before, because we will be using them in our next discussions. Till then, see you in our next video.